Welcome back to Groovy Egg's farm. I am Jeff. It was 37 degrees most of the day. We had a little drizzle here and there. But yeah, it has started melting off. It has started melting off. It is right about 5:30. It's a little bit early for me to put the chickens to bed, but I'm gonna try to put the chickens to bed. It looks like most of them have gone up for the night. It is a little bit darker than it normally is at 5:30, and maybe we can swing you around here. Yeah, you can't even see that ridge line back there. It's hazy, foggy, whatever it is. All right, I am putting them to bed, grabbing their extra food, and I'm gonna put it in the coop with them. All right, this is my blue-black splash copper marans flock, and they are all in bed for the night. I'm gonna check for an egg real quick. Yeah, we got any more eggs? Nope, no more eggs. I did get one out of this flock today, which isn't much, but with the weather we've had lately, they are not laying full bore. All right, now I'm gonna go a long way around to the other flock in the front yard, because there's a big old steep incline. Oh, yeah, and I discovered some more busted fencing here. You know, and nothing fell on that. That was just the ice, you know, when it froze. And then, yeah, another big hole there. Holes there. Luckily, those are just the up and down. Flip it back. So those aren't the hot wire. Those aren't the hot vertical. It's just the up and down ones. But they still need to be repaired, because the chickens will crawl right through there. And I've got another patch over here. Yeah. Not good. Not good at all. Some of my fences are, 5 years old. And some of them are older than that. All right, white and true blues and a few marans in here. I'm gonna check for an egg real quick. Nope, no more eggs in there. They got food left, so I'm gonna leave it for them for breakfast. It's a bad thing about this GoPro, it doesn't pick up low lights. Although I did bring my flashlight with me. There we go. Can you see him in there now? I'll get that light out of my eyes. All right, everybody have a good night. It's starting to, we're getting some sprinkles right now. They did call for snow this afternoon. Guess it's not quite cold enough for snow. We're just getting a little bit more drizzle. All right, so there's two flocks down. I got 8 eggs today so far. I might have a few more out there, but I checked pretty late this afternoon. And now I got to make the circuit all the way around. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy out there now about chicken feed and egg prices, and people's hens aren't laying, and why, I don't get my chicken feed from the same place that some people are claiming to have problems, so I can't speak to that. What I can speak to is hens stop laying eggs in the winter. It has to do with the light cycle. They need so many hours of daylight every day for them to get the resources they need to lay eggs. So hens stop laying on the shortest days of the year, which shortest day of the year is third week of December. And so yeah, hens stop laying in the winter, and the cold doesn't have a lot to do with it. Stress, if they're not used to it, stress will have a lot to do with it, but it's all about the light cycle. And what commercial operations do is they put lights in the coops. You know, the eggs you get at the grocery store, those hens never see daylight. They never eat a bug. They never scratch in the soil. They never eat grass or weeds or anything like that. Their entire lives are controlled, and they put lights in there, and you know, trick the hens into thinking it's summer all year long, so they keep on laying. And then the hens in the commercial operations, they're done before they're 2 years old. They are, you know, sold off. They are for various reasons, you know, dog food, pet food, even human food. But yeah, most of the hens that lay those, you know, brown and white eggs you get in the grocery stores, they're not gonna make it past 2 years old. Usually, you know, they'll start laying. Well, those hens will start laying, you know, 18 weeks old, and then, you know, by the time they're a year and a half, those commercial operations, they get rid of them because they know that first molt, you know, once their first fall, the second fall and second winter after they're hatched, their production is going to slow down, so they're no good to the commercial operations at that point. So it's normal for chickens to stop laying eggs in winter, and I think that probably has a lot to do with all this stuff going around right now. I don't know how much it actually has to do with the chicken feed, but that's another thing. If the chickens aren't getting enough protein, that can affect their egg production. It should slow it down. It shouldn't completely stop it if they're not getting enough protein. But all right, they didn't eat all their food too. This is another white and true blue flock. So, you know, most of your layer feed is 16%, which is bare, you know, that's barely going to be enough for some breeds to stay productive. You want a higher than 16%. Like my Morans, they need an 18% protein feed to remain productive. All right, what are you doing? Go back to bed. And it's always dark in here. That's been sitting out there all day. Any eggs? No eggs. No eggs in there. So the amount of daylight hours, that is the biggest factor in whether or not chickens lay eggs. And then stress, you know, chickens that aren't used to snow and ice and, you know, below freezing temperatures, that can create stress. They'll slow down. They're not getting enough protein in their diets, especially during winter. That can cause them to lay less. You know, there's about 1 million things that will cause influence chickens to not lay as many eggs. And now we're at my future black copper Morans flock. They're all up for the night. These Morans are laying though, and no eggs in here. I do have some girls due to start laying any day now, but they will probably wait for a few weeks for the days to get longer. All right, we got 3 more coops left. Man, tomorrow is supposed to be in the upper 40s, so that means I can hopefully stop hauling haul water around. I've been hauling water around because it freezes when it's freezing. Oh, this flock always makes a mess with their food. This is number 2's legacy flock. Look at the mess you guys made. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I go with crumbles most of the year. Or I go with pellets most of the year instead of crumbles, because they'll put it all over the floor. How are we doing? Any eggs in here? No eggs in here. Should I get my flashlight out and show you off? Yeah, look at everybody. Ancanas, those will lay white eggs when they grow up. Then a bunch of number 2 offspring. That's a olive egger. And another olive egger back there. I have them in here so that the big boy there has enough girls to keep everybody happy. All right, am I making you nervous? I'll get out of your hair. All right. Now, another controversy, and don't get me started on some of this stuff, is the price of eggs. Why is the price of eggs so high? And, you know, there's a lot of theories out there about that. And it's more than one factor. I would assume it's more than one factor. Inflation has hit everything. So inflation has hit everything. And, you know, gas prices were up. That causes a lot. We also have the avian flu. And there were tens of millions of chickens that were affected by it and slaughtered. I know Arkansas, the entire state of Arkansas issued a lockdown on chickens. When was that? Back in March. And the entire state of Arkansas was locked down. You cannot let your chickens outside until it ended in July. So, but we didn't have any cases during that time. No eggs in here. But it affected the commercial operations a lot more. And I don't think they reported, you know, don't get me going. But, you know, if a company has 5 different farms, and on each farm they have 4 chicken houses, and each of those chicken houses has 50,000-60,000 hens in it, you know, you're over a million hens. That if one of those farms gets infected, well, their workers are going around between them. So then not only did they have to kill off all of the affected birds, but they killed off everybody that was exposed to the infected birds also. So out of an abundance of caution, there were tens and tens and tens of millions of chickens that were impacted by the avian influenza, bird flu. And bird flu wasn't anything new. We've had bird flu forever. It's just some years are worse than others. And I don't know personally, but apparently this year was one of the bad years for it. So, and that happened mostly in the spring. Well, that not only impacted the laying flocks, but it impacted baby chicks. So it takes, you know, 4 to 6 months after a chick is hatched before it lays its first egg. For some of the commercial operations, it'll be closer to 4 months. For people like me, it's closer to 6 months until they lay their first egg. So, you know, they can't just hatch extra chicks and have extra eggs right away. It takes 4 to 6 months after they hatch the chicks before they can increase the supply of eggs. So I think that has a lot to do with it. You know, there's just so much speculation. Why don't I put this camera down? I want to put the tripod up. And there's a car going by. I don't know, it's waved to everybody. So there's a lot of speculation on egg prices. I don't think they'll ever go back down to, you know, $1 a dozen. That's one thing. Grocery stores were not making buku bucks on their eggs. They are, you know, they might make a nickel or a dime per dozen eggs, and they're making their money off the volume. So you want to sell 100, 200 dozen a day, well, that, you know, you might make $1,000 a month off of that one, off of just eggs in a grocery store with thousands of different items. So there isn't a lot of profit margin on the eggs. And a lot of the egg, you know, gasoline prices to transport eggs everywhere, those prices went up. Energy prices, electricity, you know, all these plants where they wash and sort and candle, and, you know, they automate all the egg handling. You know, their prices went up, and the feed costs, those prices went up, and so that has a lot to do with it, is just regular inflation, which means the prices probably aren't going to go back down to $1 a dozen. You know, I don't know. I do have a business degree, but you know, you got to study this stuff massively. But I'd be surprised if they go back down to below $2 a dozen once the production does come back up. You know, right now we've got a diminished supply because of the bird flu, supposedly, and but we will see about that. And now the politicians and the big corporations are in bed together, and who loses? We all lose. We all lose, and they win. And so yeah, it's sad. All right, I'm gonna shut up. I'm probably not even gonna use this video. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, everybody.